All right, so when it's in the proper position, you should have your telltales flying up and down the Genoa. Okay. All right, so wind changes, okay, headers and lifts, right? If the wind comes from aft, it's called a lift. If it comes from forward, it's called a header, right? A gust, basically. Wind change or gust, right? So on a header, you're going to fall off, right? Or you're going to trim the head sail, and well, as it says there, many racers, I guess, tack when headed. But on the lifts, you're going to head up or you're going to ease the head sail. These are kind of things that make more sense when you're on the boat, I think. All right. So in this case, all right, they just had a lift, right? The wind was coming this way, now it's coming that way, so they got a lift, right? So he's going to head up, right? Head towards the lift, right? Or you can ease the head sail. All right, on the bottom, all right, if the header it moved forward, right, the wind moved forward, all right, so you need to fall off or tighten up the sails. All right, so if there's a lull, in other words, if the wind starts to die or slow down, right, the apparent wind's going to shift forward because the boat movement's going to cause more of the wind, right? And the boat, if you have no wind and you're motoring, the wind is coming straight at you from the front, okay? That's the direction. When the boat's moving, the wind comes straight at you. All right, so if you have wind off to the side and it slows down, then the boat wind, I'll call it, right, is going to be more prominent, and so your apparent wind's moving towards the bow.
Sail zone.
Pardon?
Because you've turned into more of a no sail zone, so you want to.
You kind of will be closer to going into irons, but it's just the fact that if the wind slows down, more of the wind is from your boat movement. Therefore, the parent wind, which is the combination of the boat movement wind and the real wind, okay, your parent wind's going to move forward as this wind slows down, right? And the other is if the wind from if a gust, if you get a gust, it's going to move the apparent wind more to the side, more towards where the true wind is. Okay. So once either one of these stops and you're back to your normal wind, it'll return to where it was originally. I would say, most of the time they're so short, I don't even bother with them. But if it's a heavy gust or a real lull for time, then you might have to address it. But so that's kind of how I look at it. It just depends how strong they are and how long they last, is whether you deal with them. I think on the level 1 boats, you probably deal with them more than we do on the kill boats.
Yeah.
Okay.
The same kind of.
15 to 10 long. Okay. I gotta get. All right, so we sail the apparent wind, right? Ease the sails or head up on a gust, and on lulls you're going to trim the sails and fall off, or fall off. All right, you all know about a roll of furling now, right? All right, that's the jib, right? And that drum down there is where the furling line goes in, okay? when you let out the sail, right, the furling line winds around the drum. Okay. So when you want to bring in the sail, you're going to pull on the furling line, and it's going to unwind from the drum and wind up the sail. Okay. Mind your way. You're all right? All right. As the sheet's pulled, the sail is unfurled, and the furling line winds into the drum. Line goes into the drum. All right, the furl the sail and wind it up, right? You're pulling on the furling line, okay, and it's unwinding from the drum, okay, and you're having more of it back in your cockpit, and the sail is winding up.
Where's that furling line, where do you store it? Do you bag for it, or?
We actually usually, we loop it and tie it to one of the lifelines,
Oh,
okay, right on the side. Okay. All right, the halyard on the, on a furling gear is not adjustable, right? I mean, this is all set up and we don't mess with it. So you don't mess with the halyard for the jib. Okay, then you have a traveler. All right. Here. Okay. And the traveler will change the angle of the mainsail without changing the twist, okay, in the mainsail, because the mainsail is held at the same level, right? The boom doesn't move up and down; it just moves side to side with the traveler, okay. So it won't do this off the wind. Any reason why?
It only goes so far.
Yeah, it only goes so far.
It's not all the way.
It doesn't go out far enough, right, when you're off the wind. So it only handles,
So you don't use that to change your point of sail,
no,
just to tighten, to
to
trim it?
adjust the sail, yeah, to adjust,
Okay.
whether you need, to, pull it
Trim
in
Yep.
or let it out,
Okay.
depending on your angle of the wind.
So why bother with it if it doesn't change your twist?
She's
Why
just
not
saying
just
that
leave it
just
in the
to
middle
hold it
and
tight.
Just change the angle to the wind, okay? Whether you wanna, if you start, heading up and you're like, pinching, you wanna pull your sail in, right? And that's one way of pulling the sail in without adjusting the mainsail, the main sheet. You're just pulling the sail in
So
towards
for
the center.
beating, you want it in the middle.
Yeah,
if
kinda, yeah,
you're-
very close to the middle,
And if you're broad reaching, you want it further out.
right. That's all.
Okay.
But so if you're tacking for your head sail, you're just gonna adjust the head sheets from side to side, but you're not necessarily gonna adjust your traveler.
Well,
every time.
yeah,
Like,
if
that's-
you
when you
if
adjust the-
tack, you are gonna adjust it. You're gonna go from one side to the other. So if your traveler's on the starboard side, right, and you tack, it's gonna have to go over to the port side.
If you stay at the same
The
point,
traveler
same-
does, but
Yeah.
if you take the main sheet and fiddle with that, you're gonna mess with the tension on the boom,
Yes.
which will affect your sail shape in
Yes.
a way you don't want it.
Exactly.
The main, changing your main sheet will adjust two things, the angle and the shape.
And the shape.
Changing the traveler will only adjust one thing, which is just the angle. But in addition to that, if you're really trying to reach closely, you can use the traveler to bring the boom kind of further than the center of the boat, but even closer towards the windward side, which is the other thing the traveler can do. The traveler can let you maybe beat a little closer to the wind, because the traveler, if you pull it all the way windward, you know, you can do something with the traveler that you can't do with just the main sheet.
That's
So
a good point.
That's the other thing, is it's like, you know, why bother, someone said. Well, if you really wanna sail close to the wind, you can sail a little closer to the wind if you pull the traveler all the way over the windward side.
Okay.
Thank you, very good.
So you do adjust the point of sail on the traveller? So
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's what I was asking
You
before.
adjust the point of sail, then you move the traveler
Okay,
to
yeah,
where it needs to be for that
Okay.
point of sail.
okay,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah. All right, winches, okay? All right, so you always wrap the line around a winch in a clockwise manner, never counterclockwise, always clockwise, right? Typically, we'll put 2 or 3 wraps around the winch, depending on how much stress there's going to be on the line, okay? You don't want too, I don't know if I've ever had 4 wraps on, I may have, but most of the time it's 2 or 3, okay? Then you put the handle in, right, to help crank. Okay, and we have the self-tailing winches, okay, most of them. I don't know if they're all self-tailing, I think they are. Okay, so you don't have to have somebody pulling on the line while you're cranking. Okay, typically, without that self-tailing, you would need somebody to hold the end of the line and kind of pull on it, put a little stress on it, so that when you're cranking, it'll help you crank better, get more leverage. So with the self-tailing, you don't need that, but you do need, after you put your 3 winds around, then you gotta go up and into the self-tailer. Okay, and it's basically pinches the line, okay? Okay, spring lines, right? So, which, you can see which is the aft spring line, right? And which is the forward spring line, okay? The forward spring line goes to the stern, right? Goes from the stern forward, and the aft spring line goes from the bow aft. And that keeps the boat from going forward and backward, all right? And the bow lines and stern lines keep it from going side to side. All right, and we had talked about the stuffing box before. This is the transmission, okay? This is the shaft. It goes out to the propeller, right? Okay, and where it comes into the boat, you have this stuffing box that's supposed to keep the water out, okay, while it turns. And does anybody know if this is supposed to, how many trips this is supposed to be?
5 to 15.
3 to 6.
5 to 15, okay. All right, that's just,
I heard a bunch of different numbers.
I have
Range
two,
was
I
so
have
much,
two,
5 to
but you know,
15.
if it's more than 15, I would call maintenance and say, you know, it's going pretty fast. If it's not dripping at all, that's also a problem, okay? Anywhere between there, I think is okay, all right? It helps lubricate too, okay? It is part of what it does, all right? So, you do want some dripping, just not much. I think here it says, what's it say there? 3 to 15. All right. Okay, then on the Galtner show we have 2 buoys that we are, hopefully you're all very familiar with now from your navigation exercises. All right. All right. The North Buoy, GRFL 2+1. What does this mean? Anyone?
Green, red, flashing, twice, then another time green every 6 seconds.
Right, it's flashing green every 6 seconds, 2 and then 1, 2 and then 1.
I
Yeah,
have a question. The south buoy, is that the buoy where you can go either side of it?
yes.
Then why is that one, that's why I was confused. Why is it green? Why is it not?
You know, I'm not sure that buoy, I mean, it doesn't have any real navigational purpose other than it shows you where there's a gap in the shoal.
Okay.
Okay. David, do you have any idea why it's green?
It's because if the primary channel heading north, which is from a larger body of water to
Yeah.
a smaller body of water, if you think of the
So on the left side of the channel.
outside Gawker Shoal is so you really got green left returning.
Good point.
If you're down, but the odd thing is that if you're downbound, the north buoy is actually, it's a green and red because it's actually a preferred channel marker, whereas the south buoy is not a preferred channel
That's
marker.
right, you can go on either
But
side.
that's, if you just think of yourself as coming north along the shore, you're really saying that the primary channel is to the east of the shoal.
Okay.
So green's on your left.
So
Green's on,
this is
green's
the
on your
lake.
port side, going north.
Yeah, so this is the lake, right? So if you're going north, okay, you're returning from the sea. Red right returning, right? Green is on the port side returning.
That makes sense.
That's and if you're coming south, okay, you've got the what's this? Green and then red, right?
Yeah.
So green's the primary, which means this is the primary channel,
Yep.
right, heading out, and this is the secondary channel which goes to JBM.
Okay.
Right?
But it is a stretch calling the channel marker, that south buoy.
Yeah, it
because
is.
There's nothing else paired
Yes.
with it, so
Right.
it's kind of a stretch, but that's the only button,
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, now I'm not confused.
If you're on it.
I think in my notes I had that the south buoy is hard to see at night.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Why?
It's dark.
I know,
I don't know. They're both hard to see at night.
Oh, okay, but it
Yeah.
has a light.
Yeah, they both have a light, and when you get close enough, you can see it. Both of those are
Okay.
hard to see
Are they?
at night. Yes, as big as they seem to be,
Right.
they're awfully hard to see until you're
Okay.
pretty darn close.
Okay.
Yeah. The thing with the north buoy is you've got more leeway, right? You don't have to, if you just stay close to the shore, you can come into JBM
Right.
without
Without
seeing
getting-
it too close. But the south buoy, if you want to come across the south buoy, you really got to find the buoy because you got to be pretty close to it. All right, this is just right. Well, I just drew that, so you all know, right? But yeah, this one, I mean, you're going to have to come pretty close to this, okay? But that one, you've got a whole big area here to come in if you're coming in from the north. All right, so we've got mid-channel buoys. We were just talking about that, right?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, I don't think there's anything we haven't discussed. Any questions on this, how this works? Okay, preferred channel. All right. So if the top color is green and you're returning from the sea, right, the preferred channel is to your starboard. All right. If it's red, and preferred channel is to port. This is kind of a repeat of the previous slide. We're going to talk about it more. All right. So, okay. I guess this looks like you're going out to the sea, right? If you go that way. So, if you're returning from the sea, if you're coming this way, you're returning from the sea, and you're coming that way, okay? And we see that marker, green, red marker, which side are we gonna go?
The that side.
What's the preferred channel,
The one to port.
all right?
The lower one?
All right, so we got red, right, returning. Okay, we're returning from the sea. All right, and this is green. So since red's on your right, green's on your left, right? Your port side, right? So coming this way, I'm assuming going out to the sea is this way in this chart. Okay, so I'm assuming if we're returning this way, then I would go on that side as the preferred channel. Okay,
I think that's the St. Clair River cut.
is that what it is?
Yeah.
Let me see what this is. So it shows that as the preferred channel.
You're going south, that's it.
If you're going south, you're going out to the sea. You're not returning from the sea. So that must be what that means,
Yep.
okay? That must mean you're going out to the sea this way.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're going
You're
out
not
to the
returning,
sea
you're
going
going out.
south, then this would be correct. That going out to the sea just is very confusing to me.
Well, it's green, right, reading.
Yes, right, green, right, when going out to the sea, right. Okay, so now they changed the top is red, we're going out to the sea. So again, red's to port when you're going out to sea. Okay, I'm sorry, I hope I didn't confuse you.
It's easy to get turned around.
So if the red is on top, so if you're coming towards the sea, then the red should be on your right.
On your left.
Because you're not returning, you're going out to sea.
When you go out to sea, red should be on your left.
Red should be on your left.
Because when you're returning from the sea, it's on your right.
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 Okay, so-
Red, right,
You're
return.
right.
Red, return.
Just make sure you know whether you're going out to sea or coming in from the sea. This chart doesn't make that clear. I
So
don't
the
think.
direction they're showing there, the arrow, is coming from the sea?
It says going out.
All right.
to the
Coming
sea.
up to the
I
sea.
assume it's going to.
The sea is down here.
All right.
That's the sea.
It's
Okay.
actually over there,
Yeah, but that's where the sea is, I get. Okay, for the way this chart's working, the sea is down here.
Green on your
All
starboard.
right, so you're heading towards the sea. All right, when you're heading towards the sea and you have a red buoy, the red buoy is on your port side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Red port left when you leave the port, red port left.
When you're going out to sea, yes.
Red port left.
Red's on the port side.
There's no more red port left in the bottom.
No, I remember it.
Okay.
The direction that I'm going, that light, like if I think of green as go and red as stop, is on my right. That light. So if I'm going towards the sea, then whatever's on my right is saying like, you're going to the sea, go to the sea. That's the green for go.
Green for
When
go
you're
to the
coming
sea.
home and you're stopping and coming home, you're stopping, then the red light's on your right. Think about it like driving in England.
That's not gonna
All right.
help us.
Now, how do you know if you're which way is towards the sea? Like sometimes people aren't sure which way it is to the sea.
The Atlantic Sea.
It's out the St. Lawrence.
The water always flows towards the sea, right? So whatever way the water is flowing, right, that's towards the sea, right? I mean, like in Lake St. Clair, right? It's a big lake. It doesn't seem like the water's flowing anyway, but it drains out to the Detroit River. That's towards the sea, right? Okay. So water flows towards the sea. So if you're ever not sure which way is to the sea, just look at
From
which
that.
way the water's flowing. Okay, flows to the sea. All right, we talked about danger and giveaway zone, right? If you're under power, right, what are the rules? Who gives way here? If there's a boat coming this way,
You
okay,
give way.
we give way, yeah, right? And you should be able to see at night, what color is the light you're gonna see?
Green.
Red.
Red.
Sorry, red.
Red.
It's the other
Get a
green.
50-50
All right.
chance.
All right.
In England.
In England, yeah. All right, red, remember, port is a red wine. That's how I remember that. Okay. So the port side is red. Okay. All right. So if a boat's coming this way, all right, you're gonna see a green light. Okay, and they're the giveaway boat, right?
I don't assume they know that.
Exactly. How many beers they had.
But don't assume they know that. You gotta be careful anyhow. Okay, use of running lights, okay. Use running lights anytime there's poor visibility and at night.
Is the stern light connected to the running light switch?
Yes.
So it comes on when your
Yes,
running
all
light's
three running lights, the stern light and the port and starboard lights are connected together, one switch. They're on or off, okay? There's a separate switch for the steaming light, okay? And another switch, where's the anchor light? On the mast?
What's the top?
Way at the top, yeah. All right.
Steaming light, that just says night, it's a poor visibility also, right?
Yeah, at night when under power.
And poor visibility. And poor visibility.
Well, if you're sailing in poor visibility, no. But if you're motoring, most of the time in poor visibility, you're gonna be motoring, because you've gotta be careful.
So it should be on, right? The steaming light should be on.
If you're motoring, put it on in poor visibility too, yes. Yes, David?
If the red light is the port line, is the stern light the Chardonnay? I just was wondering.
I don't know, what do you drink that's green?
Gatorade.
St.
Gatorade.
Patrick's Day. St.
Really?
Whether
Patrick's
it's
Day.
St. Patrick's Day or
I haven't come up with that. Okay, it just says be vigilant at night. All right, the anchor light's a 360-degree light, right? You can see it all the way around. Ah, our favorite topic, boat sanitary system. Okay. You're all familiar with this now, right? Okay. The hand pump, double action hand pump, right? Fresh water inlet. Okay. There's a through hole. Okay, breathes water to the head, pump waste here to the holding tank. All right. And there's a vent, and there's a port for pumping it out. What do you put in the head?
What you eat and drink.
What you eat and drink.
No matter which end it comes out of.
Exactly. And a minimal amount of marine toilet paper. All right. So when you're turning towards the wind, right? When the wind's behind you and you're making a turn, it's going to be a wider turn, right? Because the wind's going to keep pushing at your bow as you're making that turn. So it's going to be a wider turn than if the wind's coming the other direction. Okay. So, so if you're turning into the wind, okay, into the wind, it's gonna be a tighter turn, because it's actually gonna help you turn. The wind's gonna actually help your bow come around. Prop lock, I think we talked about this, right? On our boats, it's gonna be to the left, to port.
I missed that when you were reviewing that, so would you be turning your wheel more the opposite direction to compensate for
Okay,
that pull?
yeah, you may need to compensate a little bit when you're backing out, okay,
Yeah.
to compensate for,
Instead
yeah,
of doing
more-
the usual, you would kind of fudge it the other way a little bit to.
yeah,
that-
if the wind though, right, if the wind's coming this way, okay, you're gonna compensate less, okay, than if the
yeah.
wind's coming from this side,
Yeah,
okay? So, yeah, you
okay.
also gotta look, not just the prop walk, but you gotta look at what kind of wind you have.
But all of our boats, it's on the left. It's on the port side on our boats.
Yes, on our boats, okay, in reverse, our prop turns that way,
Okay.
okay, in reverse, counterclockwise, all right?
I did have one question. When we are under sail, should your transmission be in reverse or neutral?
Yes, no, in reverse. On our boats, the maintenance team wants it
Says
in reverse.
Okay.
Yeah,
And that's so that you're not wearing out?
yeah, so it's
Okay.
not spinning, so the prop's not
Okay.
spinning,
All right,
yeah. Some props actually fold up,
right.
right? When s-
Feathering or something like that, or folding, yeah.
Yeah, they
Makes
fold
them
up,
faster.
and then when you start to spin the engine, they swing
Right.
out. Ours are just solid props, so, they want us to put it in reverse to keep it from spinning all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, slows you down.
Okay, so, which way do you turn the wheel when steering, right? If you want to back out and you want the boat to turn this way, okay,
It's just like a car.
all right?
Tiller's opposite. But
Alright.
wheels.
We talked about these already, right?
Yeah, it's repeated.
Yeah.
But we pivot on a keel, so it's not like a car. A car is gonna turn like in an arc, but if we jam that, we'll just.
I think when it's
Physical
guys
motion.
involved,
When
turn
when
it
you
the same
Yeah.
when you turn a boat, okay, a car turns from up here where the front tires are, right?
yeah,
Our boats turn from where the keel is, so they turn from here, which is kind of interesting. The first time you do it, and you notice, oh yeah, it's not turning from the front, right? It's turning from, from where the keel is, pretty much a little bit ahead of the center of the boat.
okay.
All right, dock lines. Okay, you got your spring lines, you got your bow lines, you got your spring line going back. What spring line is that goes back?
The
Yeah, this.
Aft spring line, from the bow back to the cleat is the aft spring line.
It's like the opposite.
Yeah.
It's what's the
It's
supported.
holding, so the front line's holding the aft, the stern, and
Yeah, lines all very strong.
Okay,
Preventing to going aft, right?
pardon?
Preventing going aft.
No, it's preventing you from going forward, right? It goes from the bow to the cleat, so it stops you from going forward. But this line, the aft spring line, you can still go backwards. Okay. So
Spring lines are
it's the
named-
forward spring line that keeps you from
Yeah.
going aft. I don't know why they
Which
use
Spring
direction
lines are
where you
always
tie it?
named in the direction they go
Yeah.
from the boat,
Yeah.
from the boat.
so that's
Yes.
the way that.
That's a good way to remember. It's the direction they go from the boat. This line goes aft from the boat. The forward spring line goes forward from the boat, goes from the boat to the shore, or to the dock.
This doesn't feel like our final lesson.
It doesn't?
Like, we don't know what we're talking about?
All right,
You're on your own.
recovery.
Right?
All right, figure 8 recovery, right? This is one you've had as a level 1. Okay. You tack, and then come around and get to the person, right? You go out about 4 boat lengths, you tack, and you come around, right, and get to the boat, towards the person. Okay.
On,
Yeah.
on the interlake, you're going almost dead into the wind when you recover.
Yeah, we talked about that in class. If this was an interlake, it would be more like this.
Yes.
Okay. On the kill boats, we kind of want to keep a little more, so you don't stop short, basically. Okay, you don't want to stop real short. We actually kind of ease into it a little bit less, a little bit more,
So you keep sailing instead of,
slightly.
okay.
Yeah, very slowly and slightly.
Do you let the jib sail go when you?
Yeah, I would
okay.
let the jib go. Yeah. Okay, on a quick stop recovery, all right, you go into the wind, and then you turn, come down, and when you go into the wind, you hold the jib sheet back, right? You turn, you come around, you're gonna jibe, and then again come up. And when you jibe, you're also going to let the jib fly. Right. What's the advantage of this over the figure 8?
Quickness.
Faster.
It's fast, and you never are really out of sight of the person in the water. Okay, you're much closer to them. You are really. When we do it, you'll see. You don't go very far away from them. So they probably feel better too. On the figure 8, they see you sailing
See you
away.
sailing away, like,
Yeah. So.
So you
yeah.
start your tack right away?
Oh yeah, right away. Yeah, you come up as soon as you can. You come into the wind, right? Okay. One of the challenges with this when we try it, you'll see, is sometimes you actually make this too tight. Okay, and you come around like that.
Right.
All right. You actually have to work at it a little bit to make sure you make a big enough circle to go around. Okay. You'll see that when you're on the water. Okay. What's the disadvantage of this?
You gotta jibe. You gotta jibe.
You got to jibe, and in heavy water, heavy winds, this could be difficult.
You gotta go through irons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weather. Any of these look scary? Any of these pictures?
The middle one.
Which one?
The middle one?
The cumulonimbus. Yeah, that's the one to watch out for, right? Is that any better? Okay. All right. Yeah, that's the thunderhead.
Thunderhead.
Yeah. Beware of this cloud formation.
Do we have to know the names of all those clouds?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's go back and study. Yes,
No, you don't have to, not for the test, you don't have to know the
Okay.
names of all those clouds. No. Okay. All right.
Can you explain this?
All right, you've got a weather system here. You've got a low pressure system, right? And in the northern hemisphere, all right, a low pressure system spins counterclockwise. In the southern hemisphere, it spins the other direction. I never knew the reason for that, but the reason,
Poles.
then someone explained it to me. That here's the Earth, right? Let's call this the equator. You know, you're spinning like that direction. So things up here go like this, things down here go like that.
It's like water down the plug hole, right?
Pardon?
The water when it goes down the plug hole in your bathroom.
Right.
In your
Down the
faucet.
drain.
Yes.
In the other hemisphere, it goes the opposite way. In
Exactly.
Australia, it goes the opposite way,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
So that's what they explained as the reason for that.
It doesn't go either way. So if it were a low pressure,
Doesn't it?
would it
That
go
is a
the
low
other
pressure.
way? I mean, if it's a high pressure.
If it's high pressure, it goes the other direction.
Okay.
Yeah, high pressure goes
I haven't seen
clockwise,
that yet.
low pressure goes counterclockwise.
Okay.
Okay? All right. All right, so you got a cold front and you got a warm front. And they, I guess, meet.
I heard a bit of sailing lore that if you stand with your face to the wind and stick out your right arm, you're pointing to the center of your
That's
low
right.
system.
If
And you
you-
can track it, like a half hour later, you
If-
stand, if it's like in a different head, you
If you're
can tell
standing
what,
here,
where the
right,
cyclone's going.
and the wind's blowing at you, if it's a low, right, you're pointing to the center, yeah.
You do that like once every couple hours.
Sorry, say that again. Explain that. Could you explain that again?
Go ahead.
Well, if you stand with the wind coming right on your face, and you
Okay.
stick your right arm out
Yeah.
perpendicular to, right there to you, you're pointing towards the center of your low pressure system. Then if you do that once every, I don't know, half hour, couple hours, you can see how that low pressure system is moving. And,
Because the
and
wind is
where
moving.
relative to you.
Okay, because is the wind's moving direction, is it?
Yeah, like if it's if you're moving in the same direction as the low, you change course and get the hell away from it.
Okay.
So,
You can also look
the
at.
wind's blowing this way here, right? So
Well,
if
yeah.
you put the wind to your face, okay,
Or not get sucked into it, like get on some type of tack where it sucks you in.
that's where the low is. See? That's what he's saying, okay? So it always points to where the low is.
So you want to stay away from the low pressure because that's where it's going to meet the wall front and that's going to be.
Yeah, you want to get away from
More
that, yeah.
dangerous weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can heave too in a certain way that's gonna suck you deeper into the storm that you don't wanna be sucked
Okay.
into.
Need to absolutely
All right, fog signals. Right, so if you're under power, right, and you're making way, boy, I don't know why that one's so light. I'm gonna have to change the color of it. One prolonged blast every 2 minutes, right? That's if you're under power. Okay. If you're not making way, right, 2 prolonged blasts every couple of minutes. So if you're under sail, 1 prolonged blast followed by 2 short blasts. Okay. How long is a prolonged blast? 4 to 6 seconds, yeah.
Can you tell me, what does it mean when it says, I'm not making way?
I'm sorry?
So if you're under power, what you're just got your
You're
power.
anchored. Okay, if you're
No, it's
anchored
not.
out someplace in fog, okay, so you're not making way, you're sitting still.
But if
Why
you're
would you
under-
be under power?
Well, that's a good question, huh? You're not making way under
Yeah,
power.
I don't.
Yeah, I guess if you're a power boat,
Okay,
I guess,
okay.
yeah.
Maybe there's something.
If I was, if I was, you know, a sailboat and I was anchored in the middle of fog, I'd do the 2 prolonged blasts also, okay? This is if you're sailing, okay?
Okay, so you're underside. So that's not if you're anchored, so if you just, so if you've got your sails up and,
If you're motoring,
okay.
you're a motorboat, you're under power. If
Okay.
you're making way, 1 prolonged blast every 2 minutes.
Okay, but then if you've got your sails up and are you sailing or are you?
No.
Yeah, if you're sailing, okay, in the
Yeah.
fog, then you would do 1 prolonged blast and 2 short.
Okay.
Now, if you're in the fog, you're gonna want your sails up as long as it's not so windy or anything, right?
Yeah.
Probably not. Fog usually doesn't have a lot of wind. So
Okay.
you want your sails up just to make yourself more visible.
Okay.
Okay. So, but if you're motoring with your sails up, you're under power, right?
Okay. Yeah.
If the engine's running and you've got it in gear, you're under power. All right, captain's responsibility, right? Responsible for the well-being of the crew and the boat. Making sure it's seaworthy and that it has all the required safety equipment. And make sure the ASI liability form is signed by everybody on board before you leave the dock. All right, and captain's responsible for directing the crew. The navigator charts the course and monitors the progress along that course, all right? May be asked to prepare alternative courses, okay? And should be able to anticipate that request. Should always be thinking about alternative courses. All right, the crew, right, steers the boat, okay, according to the course provided by the captain and the navigator. And is responsible for staying on the course as closely as they can. So, and if the wind direction changes, okay, the helmsperson, typically the captain says, yeah, you know, it's up to the helmsperson, but the helmsperson, with the captain's permission, can ask the deckhands to adjust the sails, okay, and trim them. All right, this was, somebody had questions on. Who runs the timeshare program? Chip. Okay, you met Chip. All right. He runs it for us, and he's got help. I think Suzanne Van Lucif also.
I'm also on this team.
On you also. Okay, David. All right. So there's 3 of you, right?
I'm not sure who's gonna do it this year, but last year there were 3 of us.
Okay. All right. All right. What is the best time to call? Any idea? Never.
Right away.
Use it, you get online and do it. Okay. Best
Hey,
if
right
you do it
away.
online.
What's your answer?
There is no best.
Never. You do it online. Okay, we've got it online, so we do it online. What's the answer to number 3?
No,
No.
no,
No.
no. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, if you're gonna be, on it for 2 to 3 days or longer, then yeah, you need to file a float plan. Okay, what if there's a problem with the boat?
Reschedule.
Reschedule.
They're keeping your money.
Yeah, on the schedule, if the boat's down for maintenance, will it show that on the schedule?
Yeah, when the maintenance team is gonna take the boat out of service, they put it on the schedule. Okay, so when you look at the calendar, it'll show you if it's not available.
So if you have a boat reserved for the evening, and the person day sailing has some maintenance issue, and the boat's not gonna go back out again, how do you get notified?
The person on the day sail should call you,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
The person ahead of you needs to call you, yeah.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you'll show up there,
Right.
right? All right, we all know about correcting and uncorrecting, right?
Yes.
Uncorrecting, add west, subtract east. Correcting, you do the opposite, subtract west, add east. All right, UAW, uncorrecting, add west is one way. The other way of remembering that is east is least, west is best. Okay.
And
that's true for deviation as well as variation, correct?
Yes,
So
true for both.
if you have an 8 west variation and a 5 east deviation, then you do the opposite.
Wait, you say you have what, 8 west?
8 west variation and
Okay.
a 5 east deviation.
Fine,
Then if
east
you're
here instead
adding
of
west,
that,
then
right?
you would subtract east.
Okay, so I'm correcting because we're going from true to compass.
Mhm.
So you have 75, I'm correcting, add west, makes it 83, which is magnetic. All right, then your deviation, you're gonna subtract east. All right, so instead of 83, you're gonna be down then to 78,
Got it, okay.
okay? Ah, and you all know all your plotting standards now, right? Trudy, has everybody been checked off on navigation?
5 people have not
Oh, we still got
Put your
5
hands
people to
up.
go.
been shown.
She's got ours now.
Okay. Now, you gotta have that
We had
done
a good
before
time, too.
we're on the water.
I have a question about putting the C at the front. We weren't doing that on our charting exercises, but it shows it there.
Up here?
Yes.
Yeah. Put a C up front. You didn't do it?
No, I don't have C on mine and they passed.
They did. They passed you. Yeah, no.
Trudy, don't listen. So you should always put a C in front of your,
Yeah.
always. Okay,
Yeah, in front of your course, yeah.
I need to make a few changes, Trudy.
Now, what's wrong with this though? What's wrong with this is that, what do? Well, it's actually not wrong. We do, write it as magnetic, but we plot it as true. Yeah, we plot it as true,
Not true later.
but we mark it as magnetic.
So what's wrong with it is
So
our
the-
variation is 8 degrees and that shows 7.
Where are you looking, Mike?
Your course is 097 magnetic.
drawing because it shows 7 instead of
And the next one is true.
Oh,
C
you're right, he's only got a 7 degree.
Right.
Yeah, cause it used to be, and these haven't been updated. Yeah, that's true. Nice catch.
Couple of years, few years ago.
Yeah, a few years ago. All right,
Yeah,
Thank you.
all right,
Thank you.
so, we're done. All
We're
right,
at the
let's
start.
review. If you know all of that, you probably pass,
Okay.
all right?
Probably.
Probably.
What if I probably know?
Then you might pass.
What's passing?
All right.
80%.
80%, yeah, 80%'s passing, right. All right, so it's 5 after 7. Why don't we take a break? 20 after 7, come on back. We'll start up and we'll take the test.
Do we need a writing implement?
Yeah, you need a pencil or pen, doesn't matter which. I would use a pencil.
Okay.
Judging from our answers.
Now, I heard that the level of deviation becomes stronger if you're anchored off a hard man's house. That's not true, is it?
Oh, yeah.
When do they finish this? Like midnight?
Just something I heard. Just Dave told me.
I don't know. Just got a rack for you.
Oh, thank you. This is so sweet.
56 minutes, 54 minutes, all right.
I just got used to that, and now I'm back
Now you're on
3
the
hours
camera.
off. All right, I'm on film.
David, say something to Avery.
Avery, hello.
You heard one question or something?
David and Anna, you guys gonna help correct tests?